What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Pwnage Gaming. My name is Russ, and today we will be taking a look at October in review for the NFL. We're just going to be highlighting a few teams here, just some surprising things that we've seen through 8 weeks already in the NFL. So let's just get right into it here. We're going to start off with one of the most polarizing teams right now, just due to their current situation, what has happened, and what was expected, and what is the reality right now. So, as we all know, the New York Jets acquired Aaron Rodgers in March of 2023. General Manager Joe Douglas had the intention to return the Lombardi Trophy back to New York for the first time since 1969 with that trade. Rodgers, a future Hall of Famer, missed all but 4 snaps of his inaugural season with the Jets due to a torn Achilles, shattering the hopes and dreams of Jets fans everywhere. Year 2 of the 40-year-old Rodgers with gangrene has also fallen short of expectations in every aspect. The Jets lost 5 straight games, including all 4 of their October clashes, dropping their record to 2-6. Midway through the skid, New York fired head coach Robert Saleh and stripped offensive coordinator Nathaniel Hackett of play calling duties as defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich took the reins in the interim. Ulbrich so far is 0-3 at the helm of the Jets defense and is allowing a measly 28.3 points per game in 3 games in the wake of the Saleh firing. Rodgers also has been sacked 18 times on the season and has thrown 7 interceptions, which is very out of character for Aaron Rodgers. And also, they've been plagued by lack of offensive coachingness on their offensive line. Most of those woes are coming out from, offensive tackle Tyron Smith. He was consistent as they came in Dallas, but has not encountered the same success in his first season with the Jets. According to Pro Football Focus, the 33-year-old has allowed 5 sacks for the first time since 2015 and 22 pressures through 8 games. As we all know, we expected the Jets to be a lot better than how they are right now, and we're going to see what kind of pushing through they can do. They did just win last Thursday on Thursday Night Football and beat the Houston Texans to improve to 3-6 on the year, but they have a lot of work to do if they're going to be a playoff team. I mean, they're going to have to run the table at this point. Best they can wind up right now is 11-6. They have 9 games, 9-6 or 11-6 still. They have 8 games left. Right now, I think they're still trying to find their footing, which is really embarrassing for a team like that. A team that had Super Bowl aspirations going into the year, especially when you have a quarterback like Aaron Rodgers, and then making the trade to get Davante Adams to reunite with Aaron Rodgers as well. It's been disappointing. The lack of productions has not just plagued Rodgers this season. With looming star running back Breece Hall, joined by also 4th-round pick Braylon Allen in the backfield, the expectation was that the Jets would have one of the best rushing attacks in football. Right now, they're sitting at 30th in rush yards per game at 86.1 yards per game, despite having one of the most talented running back rooms in the league. So, as we approach this midway point right now, I think the Jets are heavy pretenders. Unless Aaron Rodgers can figure out a way to get back on track with this offense, but it's not going to be just him, it's going to be the O-line as well. Maybe Tyron Smith can get back to that Dallas Cowboy form that he had for so many years, of being a solid left tackle for quarterbacks like Dak Prescott and Tony Romo. So we will see what happens going forward. As for the moment, right now, I'm putting the Jets in a pretender category. One other team that I want to talk about is the Detroit Lions, who found themselves in perfect positioning within the NFC. They are 6-1 at the moment through 8 weeks, and the Lions have prevailed in 5 games in a row, including all 3 of their October outings, while averaging a staggering 43 points per game across their last 4 contests. With an uber-talented group of weapons at offensive coordinator Ben Johnson's disposal, the 30-year-old signal caller Goff has only extracted more from his tantalizing offense by tallying a league total of 33.4 points per game across the entire season. And budding wide receiver superstar Amon-Ra St. Brown is 12th in the league with 41 receptions, while Jameis Williams, his running mate in the passing game, is second to only Alec Pierce in yards per catch to form a dynamic duo in this Lion offense. Second-year tight end Sam Laporta has predominantly a non-factor in the Lions' potent offense this season, which is a testament to the effectiveness of the offense, that they don't need a guy like Sam Laporta, who had a breakout rookie year last year. Then, not to mention on the ground as well, the tandem running back duo of David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs has they both reached pay dirt a combined 13 times so far this season, already halfway through the year. And at the same time, Gibbs has taken the step forward to become one of the NFL's brightest young rushers, with the Alabama product being 7th in rush yards this season so far. Not to mention also their defense. They're ranked 11th in total defense and 8th in points allowed per game, despite losing perennial Pro Bowler edge rusher Aiden Hutchinson for the season in Week 6. Seeing issues on the defense in Hutchinson's absence, the Lions' 15 takeaways are tied for second among all teams, behind sizzling seasons from Brian Branch and Kirby Joseph as well. Motown has been home to the league's most impressive performance week in and week out, but facing the Packers at Lambeau Field this weekend cannot be underestimated. If the Lions can add some pass rushers and fend off the stacked NFC North, there should be no surprise if head coach Dan Campbell finally brings the coveted Lombardi back home to the Motor City. I'm going to run through some quick hits here and just kind of give some synopsis on different things that I see. In Week 8, the Washington Commanders improved their record to 6-2, which is a come out of nowhere sort of thing, considering how they've played for the last 2-3 years. Rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels has been a big sensation. Picked second overall in the draft, has the Commanders sitting at 6-2 and right behind the Detroit Lions. With the NFC West being wide open right now, the NFC South is also on the down right now. The two top divisions in all of football are going to end up being the NFC East, because of how competitive it is going to be, and the NFC North, with each team being above 500 in that division. But more on this last game that Jaden Daniels just had. He connected with receiver Noah Brown on a 52-yard game-winning Hail Mary, which was tipped by Chicago's cornerback Tyreek Stevenson. With 326 pass yards on the day, Daniels only strengthened his Offensive Rookie of the Year campaign by outdueling quarterback Caleb Williams, who was the number 1 selection in the draft this year. So Jaden Daniels just proved his point, I believe, with this game. He made a hell of a statement in the fashion that they won. Just ultra crazy. Bears fans everywhere probably heavily upset over that, but it's football. Anything can happen any given Sunday. Not to say that Caleb Williams has been a slouch this year, but he just hasn't had that level of production that Jaden Daniels is having, along with the success as well. Also last week, the Los Angeles Rams saw their star wide receiver duo Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp return from the injured reserve. The Rams handed the Vikings their second loss in as many weeks, as head coach Sean McVay aspires to return to the playoffs with his roster back at full strength. And right now, with how the NFC and West is lining up, it looks like we could be having, the Rams get a resurgence here, and they're sitting in the last place right now. But with them getting both their top receivers back at this point in the year, Niners are in shambles right now with injury bug. They have no idea when Chris McCaffrey is going to be playing another down for them this year with his strained calf. Seattle is a very up and down team. It just depends on what team you see each week. And Arizona is starting to make some strides, but I don't think that they're quite there yet. So right now, the Rams may be in last place, but they're in good position to take the division away during this last stretch of the season. Colts quarterback Anthony Richardson has experienced an up-and-down season in his first full season as a starter following an AC joint sprain. The 22-year-old physical specimen showed glimpses of his immense potential, but quickly reminded Colts fans that he is a project, getting benched in favor of backup and longtime journeyman quarterback Joe Flacco. Now, a lot of controversy surrounding Anthony Richardson. Apparently, he got winded during a play and needed to play off or whatever, but this is the NFL. You can't do that sort of thing. You can't go out there and get tired when you're going through these long drives or you're trying to play tempo offense, right? You have to hang in there, and you get your rest after the drive is over. In my opinion, you get your rest there. But I think with the Colts moving on with Joe Flacco, it might be good. Have Anthony Richardson sit back behind him. Have him learn a thing or two from a veteran quarterback like Flacco. He's a former Super Bowl MVP, former Super Bowl champion. He is a former Rookie of the Year as well. And I think there's a lot that Anthony Richardson could end up learning from Joe Flacco moving forward. And two last things that I just want to leave with you guys. Let's talk about Ravens running back and quarterback Lamar Jackson and Derrick Henry. Lamar is looking right now to pad his MVP resume. The 30-year-old star running back Derrick Henry is doing the same in a tight Offensive Player of the Year race. In his inaugural season with Baltimore, Henry leads the league with 946 rushing yards and almost 200 yards ahead of Saquon Barkley, who is in second place right now. The Ravens also acquired Deontay Johnson from the Panthers, so expect the already dazzling numbers of both former Heisman winners, Jackson and Henry, to skyrocket even further. The Pittsburgh Steelers, though, are also sitting at 6-2 and had sole possession of the AFC North throne. While quarterback Justin Fields was performing well as a starter in the Steel City, Russell Wilson turned back the clock upon his return to the starting lineup. Wilson torched both New York teams, throwing for 264 yards and 3 total scores in a 37-15 victory over the Jets, and throwing for over nearly 300 yards in a Monday night game over the Giants. The Wilson to receiver George Pickens connection has looked unstoppable since Wilson's return, and the Steelers look primed to return to the playoffs with head coach Mike Tomlin this season. And taking a look at other teams right now in the league, just to kind of give a standings update, in case anyone's been living under a rock for the last couple. Let's take a look at the standings. So through 8 weeks, you have in the AFC East, you have Bills at 6-2, Jets at 3-6, Dolphins at 2-5, Patriots at 2-6. Looks like the Bills will be taking the division once again this year. In the AFC West, though, you have the best team in the league right now, despite the terrible quarterback play from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. You have the Chiefs at 7-0, the only undefeated team in the league right now. The Broncos are sitting at 5-3, which is another surprising thing. Rookie quarterback Bo Nix is having a hell of a season so far, and is probably the only one that could probably rival Jaden Daniels when it comes to Offensive Rookie of the Year voting this year. Chargers are also sitting at 4-3. First year with Jim Harbaugh as head coach, and they look impressive. I mean, they've allowed only 91 points total for the season, so he's got a good defense working there. It's just, I think this team also lacks the offensive talent. I mean, they've lost Austin Eckler, they lost Keenan Allen. I think their wide receiver one is Quentin Johnston, and his biggest issue is being able to stay on the field and stay healthy. And then in last place, unfortunately, you do have the Gardner Minshew-led Las Vegas Raiders sitting at 2-6, which, I mean, at this point, I don't think is a surprise to anybody. In the AFC South, though, you have the Titans at 1-6, the Jaguars at 2-6, which is a surprise to most people because Trevor Lawrence just got that huge contract extension not too long ago. But this is definitely not what they paid for. But they finally got their second win of the year last week, and I know they're looking to change some things up, and we'll see how that shakes up going forward. We'll see if the Jaguars could possibly run the table. You also have the Colts sitting at 4-4 for for the moment. It's been a very, like I said, up and down year for Indianapolis. And then you have the Texans sitting at 6-3. CJ Stroud is having a hell of a year. The only blow to this team right now is the fact that they did lose wide receiver Stephon Diggs for the season. In the NFC, though, you do have the Commanders, Eagles, both teams above 500. Eagles at 5-2, Commanders at 6-2. It is going to be an interesting race to see who takes the NFC East this year. The Commanders have been a very big dark horse team and have come out of nowhere to surprise and shock everyone, I'm sure, this year. You also have the Cowboys sitting at 3-4, who are underperforming in every category, in every sense of the word, especially after the great season last year by CeeDee Lamb, Dak Prescott, Brandon Aubrey. It's just a disappointing thing you hate to see, especially after your quarterback leads the league in touchdown passes. Then you have the Giants sitting at 2-6. In the NFC North, though, this is being the toughest division in football so far this season. I mean, you have the Bears at 4-3 with a winning record. You have the Vikings at 5-2, the Packers at 6-2, and the Lions at 6-1. All four of those teams could realistically make the playoffs. They could shut out the whole wild card system, and I mean, you get one team going to the playoffs as a divisional winner, and there's a huge possibility right now, just based off the records. If the season ended today, the entirety of the NFC North would be in the playoffs, which is insane, which has never happened. Not one entire division has ever made the playoffs before. So that would be very historic and very monumental. All teams have pretty good point differentials too going into this last stretch as well. Right now, I think this last stretch will also show us if all four teams are for real, or if they've just had kind of a bit of an easier time handling teams this first half of the season. So we'll see more once we get into the second half of the year. Then you have the NFC South. And the NFC South has been all over the place. You have the Saints, who started off 2-0. Right now they're currently sitting in third at 2-6. You have the Panthers at 1-7. You have the Buccaneers at 4-4, and the Atlanta Falcons at 5-3. Now, the Buccaneers did take the division the last couple years. Last year being the most surprising of all, considering the fact that they did not have Tom Brady and they had only Baker Mayfield. Mayfield's still playing like a stud. It's just, Chris Godwin's out for the year. Mike Evans is out for this next game and the game after, I believe. I believe they said he was out for a total of 3 games going forward. And the Falcons have just been playing well with Kirk Cousins at the helm. Despite taking rookie quarterback Michael Penix in the first round of the draft, just to have him sit behind him. I mean, Michael Penix is already 24 years old and should get some NFL playing time soon. But when you look at how well Kirko has been playing with the Falcons, it's hard to see why they would bench him right now. And barring any injuries, I don't think Michael Penix will see the field at all unless it's in garbage time. And last but not least, you have the NFC West, which is in a 3-way tie for first. All 3 teams being at 4-4, that being the Arizona Cardinals, the San Francisco 49ers, and the Seattle Seahawks. Now, you guys all know me. I am a huge Seattle Seahawks fan. And right now, sitting at 4-4, I'm not sure what to think of the team, because I've watched every game so far this year, and we ultimately played our best game against the Atlanta Falcons. That was the most complete game I've seen from both sides of the ball so far this season. And then immediately the next week, they go out and crap the bed against the Buffalo Bills at home and lose by 21. So, very interesting dynamic there. So, like I said earlier, with Seattle, it's depending on what team you see that week, if you're going to get the 4-0 version of them or the 0-4 version of them. Moving forward. So it'll be interesting to see how the rest of their season shakes up, because I know they have a tough stretch ahead. Same thing with the Niners and Cardinals. And the Rams are sitting at 3-4, but ultimately I believe the Rams might honestly have the best chance at taking the entire division from here on out. So it'll be interesting to see, and we'll keep an eye on things moving forward. I do apologize for my absence. Things have been hectic. So we're going to be looking to get back into this stuff and hit it again. So Anyway, guys, thank you guys so much for watching, and we really appreciate all the support that we get on the videos. It helps us out a lot, and seeing your guys' comments in the comment section to suggest what we should do next also brings a bunch of help to the channel as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. Like this video and comment down below to to suggest what you'd like to see next on the channel. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and tap the bell to get all of your post notifications. And I will see you later.